I think there are two schools of thought. One of them is that China or Russia or any adversary or competitor might use this period of time of American distraction, which we were already distracted by our elections, by COVID-19, by economic recession, but then COVID hitting the president, even higher distraction in other people, Joint Chiefs and others. Does that mean they would take military action toward Taiwan to end its independence, building on their gains in Hong Kong? I think that's less likely. I think more likely they would see this as a breathing space to push their agenda even more to be the premier global leader. They're doing that by tightening control of the private sector, which currently has 60% of their GDP, 80% of their employment. But they're setting tighter rules on how private companies can operate, and they're also nationalizing. They're going to try to close the technology gaps with the United States that remain, particularly in semiconductors. They're actually looking at embargo lists as sort of a focus list of where they have to build out. And then on top of that, I think one of the things for your viewers to watch is development of the RMB as an international currency, and particularly accelerating work toward digital currency. So there's a lot going on, and they feel they can move ahead more quickly within a distracted United States.
And there's so many different angles to this, Fred. I mean, the Wall Street Journal had this kind of deep dive into how China's tried to influence the United Nations through various campaigns to put their people in the head of different committees and that outcome. There's a Politico story today about how a German official tried to conceal some of their relations with China so as not to dissuade the Chinese from doing more business there. In some ways, it feels like China's winning already. Yes, of course, President Trump talks toughly about the situation. To some extent, Vice President Biden does too. But what would you want to hear out of one of these debates, for example, as it relates to how to really face this threat?
There is absolutely no doubt that the Trump administration has done us a favor by sharpening our focus on the debate more entirely. But I think the real debate is, how do you do this? How could we get anywhere further without our allies in Asia, without our allies in Europe being on the same page and coordinating our policies with them? And that's what Vice President Biden says he would do a lot better. But you also have a situation where more than 100 of the world's countries have China as their leading trading partner, including Germany, including South Korea, Japan, our allies, UAE, Saudi Arabia, while only 57 have the U.S. as a trading partner. So one way or another, this is a generational contest. And the question really is, are we in a tipping point toward China being the premier leader, or can the West and democracies get their act back together after the election, irrespective of who wins, and create a little bit more balance and give democracies a little bit more momentum again?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.